Listen carefully, because what you're about to hear is not a war story. It's not a hero story. And it's definitely not a bar fight. This is a story of what happens when the most dangerous weapon ever created by humanity just wants to be left alone. Some legends wear crowns, some command fleets, and some sit quietly in the darkest corner of a forgotten bar, drinking cheap alcohol and trying not to remember the faces of the people they killed. The galaxy believed the war ended because treaties were signed, because empires grew tired, because peace was negotiated. That was a lie. The war ended because 12 people learned how to disappear. They were called ghosts. No insignia, no records, no mercy. And tonight, one of them made a mistake. She sat down in the wrong bar, at the wrong table, on the wrong station, and 5 soldiers who thought they were predators accidentally woke up a nightmare. This is the story of Lucy Cole, and once you hear it, you'll understand why entire fleets turn around. When her name is spoken in a whisper, the bar had no windows. Lucy Cole chose it that way. No view of space, no reminder of stars, planets, or distance. Just metal walls stained by time and bad decisions. The Drifter's Den existed on the edge of neutral territory, a forgotten station orbiting nothing worth fighting over, the kind of place where people came to disappear, and usually succeeded. Lucy sat in the corner booth with her back against the wall. Old habit. Her jacket was faded brown, worn at the seams. Civilian clothes. Ordinary. Carefully ordinary. Her boots were scuffed. Her hair short and unremarkable. Her posture relaxed but alert. To anyone watching, she was just another tired human woman killing time with cheap liquor. That was the illusion. Her drink tasted like regret mixed with fuel. She didn't complain. She wasn't here for comfort. She was here because her superiors had ordered her to stop moving. Mandatory decompression. They had called it 2 weeks of leave. No missions. No targets. No blood. Lucy didn't know how to do that anymore. The war had taught her many things. How to break bones. How to disappear in plain sight. How to kill without hesitation. But it never taught her how to sit still and feel nothing. The bar was half full. Miners coated in asteroid dust. Traders with too many limbs counting credits. A few humans scattered among the crowd. Quiet, cautious. Everyone here carried a story they didn't want to tell. Lucy liked that. Then the door opened. The temperature in the room changed. 5 figures stepped inside. Tall, broad, reptilian. Their scales the color of dried blood. Their eyes sharp and burning. Military uniforms stripped of insignia, off-duty soldiers, or pretending to be. Lucy recognized them instantly. She had seen their kind scream in vacuum. She had watched them bleed in silence. She had ended enough of them during the war to know exactly how dangerous they were. The leader walked first. Big, confident, the kind of confidence that comes from never losing a fight, because someone else always died first. He scanned the room with open contempt, measuring weakness like a predator choosing prey. Then his gaze locked onto Lucy. She felt it before she saw it. The shift, the attention, the decision. A lone human woman. No visible weapon. No friends. No witnesses willing to intervene. Easy. He said something to his squad in their native tongue. They laughed, a harsh, grinding sound that made several patrons stiffen. The bartender froze behind the counter. Lucy didn't move. She took another slow sip of her drink. The bartender, Mox, had been running this place for 3 decades. He knew when trouble walked through the door. He knew when violence was coming. And right now, his instincts were screaming at him to get away from the corner booth. Not because of the soldiers. Because of the woman. There was something wrong with her eyes. Something cold. Patient. Like a storm that hadn't decided whether it needed to move yet. The soldiers didn't notice. The leader reached her table and slammed his fist down hard enough to rattle the glass. Liquid spilled across the surface. "Human," he growled, "you're in my seat." Lucy looked at the spilled drink. Then she looked up at him. "I was here first," she said calmly. Her voice was soft. Level. Not afraid. That made him smile. His squad laughed again. "You hear that?" he sneered. The soft skin thinks she has rights. He leaned closer, breath reeking of alcohol and rot. Your kind lost the war. You beg for peace. You are nothing but prey pretending to be people. Lucy said nothing. She just watched him. That silence infuriated him more than any insult could have. He knocked her glass to the floor. It shattered. Look at me when I speak to you, he snarled. I am looking at you, Lucy replied. The bar went silent. No music, no movement, just breath held in collective dread. The soldier grabbed her jacket and lifted her from the booth with one hand. I'm going to teach you what happens to humans who forget their place, he hissed. Lucy hung there, weightless, calm. And then she spoke. You have 3 seconds, she said quietly. The room froze. He blinked. What? 3 seconds, Lucy repeated. After that, I stopped being polite. For a moment, nobody breathed. Then he laughed. A deep, thunderous laugh filled the bar as a squad joined in. None of them realized it yet. They weren't laughing at a human. They were laughing at their own funeral. For half a second, the galaxy held its breath. The reptilian soldier was still laughing, his grip tight around Lucy's collar, his yellow eyes shining with cruelty and confidence. His squad leaned closer, eager for entertainment. Around them, every other soul in the drifter's den stood frozen, too afraid to intervene, too afraid to run. Lucy counted silently. 3. The first thing she broke was his wrist. The sound came sharp and wet, crack, like bone snapping through soap cloth. It echoed through the bar, slicing through laughter and arrogance alike. His grip vanished instantly as his fingers bent in a direction they were never meant to go. He screamed, not a battle cry, not rage, pure animal pain. Lucy dropped lightly to the floor as his arm went useless, hanging wrong at the joint. Before his brain could process what had happened, before shock could even take hold, she struck again. Her palm drove into his throat. Not enough to kill, just enough. He collapsed to his knees, choking violently, gasping for air that refused to come. His ruined wrist flopped uselessly as he clawed at his neck, eyes bulging with confusion and terror. 2 seconds. That was all it took. The bar erupted into chaos, but not movement. Shock paralyzed everyone. The squad stared at their leader on the floor, their expressions blank, their predator instincts completely shattered. This wasn't how this was supposed to go. Humans were fragile, weak, breakable. Lucy moved before their minds caught up. The largest of the remaining soldiers roared and charged, claws extended, muscles coiled for kill. He had killed humans before. He knew how easily their bones shattered. He never touched her. Lucy stepped aside with effortless precision, letting his momentum betray him. She seized his arm, twisted her hips, and used his own weight against him. He flew sideways, crashing into another soldier. Tables overturned, bottles shattered, glass rained across the floor. The sound snapped the others into action. The third soldier drew a plasma knife. The blade hummed, glowing with lethal energy. He had trained with it for years. He trusted it. That trust lasted less than a heartbeat. Lucy closed the distance before he could swing. She caught his wrist mid-motion and twisted sharply. The joint popped. The knife clattered free. Lucy caught it without looking, her elbow slamming into his face with surgical accuracy. Bones shattered. He dropped to his knees, howling. Lucy pressed the knife against the back of his neck and made a precise, shallow cut. Not flesh, hardware. His combat implant sparked and died instantly. He collapsed like a puppet with its strings severed. The fourth soldier understood something then. This wasn't a fight. This was an execution. He might still escape. He turned and ran for the door. Lucy didn't chase him. She threw the knife. It crossed the room in a silver blur and pinned his hand to the wall. Bone, scale, and metal screaming together as the blade embedded itself deep into the structure. His scream joined the chorus. The first 2 soldiers were getting back to their feet now, panic replacing fury. Lucy walked toward them slowly, calmly, like a storm that knew it had already won. One swung wildly. Lucy ducked under the blow and struck the nerve cluster beneath his ribs. His entire body seized as pain flooded his system. He folded in half, Gasping, the other tried to grab her from behind. She dropped low, swept his legs, and struck his temple as he fell. He hit the floor unconscious before he fully understood he was losing. The leader was still trying to stand. Blood and spit stained the floor beneath him. His eyes burned with humiliation and rage. He could barely breathe. His wrist hung useless. Lucy stopped in front of him. For a moment, she studied his face. "I gave you a chance," she said quietly. Then she struck once, precisely where skull met spine. He collapsed. Silence swallowed the bar. 5 soldiers lay unconscious or screaming on the floor. 10 seconds. That was all it took. Lucy wasn't breathing hard. She wasn't shaking. She didn't even look angry. She turned and walked to the bar. Mox, the bartender, stared at her like he was looking at death itself. His 4 hands trembled as she placed a clean glass on the counter. "I'd like another drink," Lucy said calmly. Mox swallowed. "On the house," he whispered. "Forever." Lucy nodded. "I don't hurt bartenders." She returned to her booth, stepping over bodies without looking at them, and took a long sip. No one moved. No one spoke. And then the door opened again. A female entered, older, scarred, wearing a captain's uniform. Her eyes scanned the destruction, the bodies, the embedded knife, the quiet human woman calmly drinking in the corner. Her blood ran cold. She recognized the fighting style. She had seen it before. During the war, she whispered the words before she could stop herself. Ghost Protocol. Lucy looked up. For the first time in 20 years, she felt fear. The word fell into the bar like a death sentence. Ghost Protocol. The captain hadn't meant to say out loud. It slipped from her mouth on instinct, dragged up from old memories she had spent years trying to bury. Memories soaked in blood, loss, and unanswered questions. Lucy froze. Not her body, her soul. She looked at the captain slowly, deliberately. Her fingers tightened around the glass just enough for the liquid inside to ripple. "You shouldn't use words you don't understand," Lucy said. But the captain already did. She had faded scales, dulled by age and war. Scars across her arms and neck. Real scars, not ceremonial ones. The kind earned in battles that never made it into official records. Her eyes, sharp and intelligent, were locked onto Lucy with something far more dangerous than anger. Recognition. "You're one of them," the captain whispered. "A ghost." The bar patrons didn't understand the term, but they understood fear. The way the captain's posture shifted. The way her breathing changed. The way someone who had faced death too many times suddenly realized it was standing right in front of her. "I don't know what you're talking about," Lucy said. Her words were calm. Her eyes were not. "The ghosts were supposed to be myths," the captain said. "Human propaganda. Psychological warfare. They said you didn't exist." Lucy took a slow sip of her drink. "Maybe we don't," she replied. "Maybe I'm just a tired woman who wants a quiet drink." The captain glanced at her soldiers scattered across the floor. Groaning, bleeding, broken, alive barely. "No," she said softly. "I've seen this before. The precision, the restraint, the speed. No wasted motion. No rage." She swallowed. "My mate died like this." Lucy closed her eyes. Just for a second. "He was a general," the captain continued. "Third Fleet. He went asleep one night and never woke up. They said it was his heart." Lucy's jaw tightened. "It wasn't," she said quietly. Silence stretched between them. The captain took a step back, as if distance might protect her. "How many?" she asked. Lucy didn't answer immediately. Then, 347. The number hung in the air, heavy and final. "I remember every face," Lucy added. "That's the price." The captain nodded slowly. She believed her. "I should hate you," she said, "for what you took from us." "I know," Lucy replied. "But I don't," the captain admitted, "because I would have done the same thing." They stood there, 2 veterans from opposite sides of a war that had devoured everything they loved. Then the station shook. A deep, distant rumble vibrated through the floor. Lights flickered. Alarms began to wail. Lucy's shoulders sagged. Of course, she muttered. It's never simple. The captain turned sharply toward one of her soldiers. He was awake now, clutching his shattered wrist, pain twisting his features. In his other hand, hidden badly, he pressed a small red button. Lucy saw it. Too late. The captain lunged toward him. No! The beacon activated. Somewhere in orbit, a warship changed course. The captain turned back to Lucy, horror written across her face. He sent a distress signal. The vengeful blade. Lucy exhaled slowly. How long? 20 minutes, the captain said. Maybe less. The bar erupted into panic. Patrons screamed. Some ran. Others prayed. Mox fumbled with his communicator, his face pale as death. They're demanding surrender, he stammered. They want the human. They're giving us 1 hour. Lucy looked around the room. For 1,000 people lived on this station. Families, workers, children. None of them knew her name. None of them knew what she was. And they were all about to die because 5 soldiers had made a mistake. I need access to the station's communication array, Lucy said. For what? The captain asked. Lucy walked toward the back room. Because I need to make a call. She entered a frequency that officially didn't exist. A channel buried beneath layers of deniability. 3 words left her mouth. Ghost 7 reporting. Then she shut it down. What happens now? The captain asked quietly. Lucy turned back toward the viewport, where cold stars burned without mercy. Now, she said, we wait. Far above the station, the vengeful blade loomed like a predator. Its commander stood on the bridge, staring at the tiny station on the display. For 1,000 lives meant nothing to him. Honor did. Surrender the human, he said, or we turn it to dust. On the station, Lucy closed her eyes. She had escaped prisons, survived bombardments, slaughtered her way through enemy flagships. But this was different. There was no mission, no extraction, no backup, just a tired ghost and an entire station depending on her. And somewhere, far away, a promise waited to be tested. The warship arrived like judgment. The vengeful blade dropped out of hyperspace with brutal precision, its massive silhouette eclipsing the stars. Weapon arrays rotated into position. Energy signatures spiked across its hull. On the station, alarms wailed louder. People screamed. The illusion of neutrality shattered in an instant. Lucy stood near the viewport, hands resting loosely at her sides. She didn't flinch. She didn't curse. She simply watched the warship settle into orbit, like a predator that knew its prey couldn't escape. They'll fire, the captain said quietly. He won't hesitate. I know, Lucy replied. Mox rushed toward them, panic flooding his voice. They're demanding immediate surrender. They want you. They say if we delay, they start with a warning shot. Lucy turned away from the stars. No warning shots, she said flatly. Not with him. He'll make an example. The captain studied Lucy's face. There was no fear there. Only calculation, and exhaustion deeper than any battlefield wound. You could run, the captain said. Escape pod. Maintenance tunnel. You'd vanish before they could track you. Lucy shook her head. And leave 4,000 people to die. She met the captain's eyes. I've already done enough running. The station shook again, harder this time. The lights dimmed, then stabilized. 5 minutes, Mox whispered. They're charging weapons. Lucy nodded once. Get everyone as deep inside the station as possible. Seal bulkheads. It won't save if he fires, but it might by seconds. Seconds mattered. The captain hesitated. If you surrender, he'll kill you anyway. Lucy smiled faintly. I know. Then why? Because I made a promise, Lucy said. She walked toward the station's central communication hub. The captain followed. A long time ago, Lucy continued, they told us we were expendable. Tools. Assets. If we were compromised, we were to disappear. She stopped at the console. But then something changed. Lucy entered a code by muscle memory. They realized what they'd made, she said, and what it was costing us. The screen flickered, and they promised us something. What? The captain asked. Lucy looked up. That if the galaxy ever came for one of us, humanity would come back harder. The console chimed. Incoming signal. Not from the warship. From hyperspace. Ben, the station administrator, burst into the room. Multiple signatures detected. Human vessels dropping out of... The lights flared. Space itself seemed to tear open. 12 warships emerged in perfect formation. Not scouts. Not patrol craft. A battle fleet. At their center loomed a massive carrier. Silent, angular, terrifying. The Silent Dawn. The vengeful blade froze. On its bridge, the commander stared at the display in disbelief. Impossible, he whispered. A human fleet surrounded him completely. A channel opened. A woman appeared on the hologram. Silver hair. Sharp eyes. A presence that commanded silence without raising her voice. Commander, she said calmly. Power down your weapons. Who are you? He demanded. I am Admiral Grace of Earth Military Command, she replied. And you are threatening one of our ghosts. The bridge fell silent. The words spread like poison. Ghost. The commander straightened. This is a matter of honor. A human assaulted my soldiers. You attacked one of ours, the admiral said. She defended herself. You will stand down. You would start a war over one woman, the commander snarled. The admiral leaned forward slightly. That woman gave up her childhood, she said. Her peace. Her future. She became something monstrous so others wouldn't have to. Her voice hardened. She is family. The fleet's weapons charged audibly. You have 1 minute, the admiral continued. Leave the system. The commander's pride screamed. His survival instinct screamed louder. He looked at the tactical display. 12 warships. 1 carrier. Against this single vessel. The math was unforgiving. Power down weapons, he snapped. The vengeful blade turned slowly, humiliated, and vanished into hyperspace. On the station, silence followed. Then screams of relief. People collapsed, cried, laughed hysterically. Ben sank into a chair, shaking. They came, he breathed. They actually came. Lucy closed her eyes. They always do, she said. The captain stared at the human fleet. Your people don't abandon their weapons, she said softly. Lucy turned to her. We're not weapons, she replied. We're what's left after the war. A new channel opened. The admiral's face appeared again. Ghost 7, she said gently. You look tired. I am, Lucy admitted. You're safe now. Lucy nodded. For the first time in years, she believed it. The galaxy did not sleep that night. Within hours, footage from the drifter's den spread across 100 worlds. Grainy security recordings showed a lone human woman dismantling 5 trained soldiers in seconds. No rage, no hesitation, no wasted movement. Analysts slowed the footage frame by frame. They failed to explain it. Military experts argued. Scientists theorized. Commentators argued about physiology, gravity, implants. Anything that might make it make sense. None of it did, because the truth was simpler. She wasn't stronger. She was trained. And then the word escaped containment. It started as a whisper in military channels. A single term buried deep in classified archives. Ghost. The commander of the vengeful blade reported the incident to his superiors with visible reluctance. He omitted his humiliation, but could not omit his fear. They exist, he said, and humans will burn the galaxy to protect them. That sentence changed everything. The Galactic Council demanded answers. Emergency sessions were called. Ambassadors flooded human embassies with demands, threats, and veiled panic. For 3 days, humanity said nothing. Silence. And that silence frightened the galaxy more than any declaration of war ever could. On the station, life slowly returned to something resembling normal. Damaged tables were replaced. Bloodstains scrubbed away. The knife hole in the wall was patched. People returned to work, but their conversations were different now. They spoke in hushed tones. About the woman. Lucy Cole remained aboard, confined to secure quarters. Not in prison, protected. Medical teams checked her vitals. Psychologists attempted interviews. She politely declined. She slept poorly. Faces returned when she closed her eyes. 347. They never stayed quiet. The captain visited once. My superiors are furious, she admitted. They call it humiliation, weakness. Lucy looked out the viewport. They'll survive. You could have killed them, the captain said. Why didn't you? Lucy didn't answer right away. Because I don't want to become the thing they think I am. The captain nodded slowly. The galaxy will never see you that way. Lucy almost smiled. Almost. Then the message came. A formal summons. Earth Military Command. Press conference. Public disclosure. Lucy stood at the edge of the observation deck as human ships prepared to depart. She would go with them. There was no disappearing anymore. Her cover was gone. Her anonymity shattered. The galaxy knew her face. Do you regret it? The captain asked. Lucy thought of the bar, the broken wrist, the knife in the wall, the fleet that came for her. No, she said. I regret the war. On Earth, the room was packed. Journalists from 100 species crowded the hall. Cameras hovered. Drones buzzed. The atmosphere vibrated with anticipation. Then Admiral Grace stepped onto the stage. The room fell silent. For years, the Admiral began, there have been rumors of a classified human program known as the Ghosts. She paused. Today, I confirm it exists. The explosion of noise was deafening. She raised a hand. The Ghosts were created 15 years ago when humanity was losing the war. 12 operatives were deployed behind enemy lines. She let the number sink in. The war ended 6 months later. No one spoke. They were not soldiers, she continued. They were sacrifices. A reporter shouted, Are they assassins? Yes, the Admiral replied. And more. Is Lucy Cole one of them? Yes. The room erupted again. She defended herself against an unprovoked attack. The Admiral said firmly. She used restraint. She spared lives. That matters. Her gaze hardened. Let me be clear. The Ghosts are not a threat to peace. They are the reason peace exists. The message was unmistakable. Threat 1 Ghost. You face humanity. Across the galaxy, military doctrines shifted overnight. Tactical models were rewritten. Engagement rules amended. No one wanted to test whether humans were bluffing. Lucy watched the broadcast from a quiet room. Her name scrolled across the screen. She felt exposed. Raw. You did this, Lucy murmured. You ended my silence. Later, Admiral Grace visited her in person. Your field days are over, the Admiral said gently. Your face is known. Your methods studied. Lucy nodded. I expected that. There's another role, the Admiral continued. Training, teaching, preparing the next generation. Lucy closed her eyes. She remembered her own training. The pain, the isolation, the moment she stopped feeling human. I don't want to create more monsters, Lucy said. The Admiral met her gaze. Then make sure they don't become monsters. Lucy opened her eyes. That was how it began. The training facility on Earth's moon was quiet in a way battlefields never were. No alarms, no gunfire, no dying screams. Just silence, steel and gravity carefully calibrated to break bodies without killing them. Lucy Cole stood alone on the observation deck, staring down at the training floor where the next generation waited. 20 recruits. Young, alert, nervous. They had all volunteered. Every single one of them had watched the Drifter's den footage. They knew what Lucy was capable of. They did not know what it had cost her. She remembered her first day. Different room, different faces, same fear. They had stripped away her name back then, reduced her to a designation, told her emotions were weaknesses, told her mercy was failure, and she had believed them. Lucy exhaled slowly and stepped forward. The room snapped to attention. My name is Lucy Cole, she said. I am not your commander. I am not your hero. I am what happens when a war decides children are cheaper than peace. The recruits shifted uncomfortably. I have killed more people than I want to remember, Lucy continued. Some deserved it. Some didn't. All of them haunt me. She walked between them. eyes scanning faces. You are here because a galaxy is dangerous, because diplomacy fails, because sometimes monsters show up wearing uniforms. She stopped in front of a young woman with red hair and clenched fists. But listen carefully, Lucy said. Being a ghost is not about killing. That caught their attention. It's about control, Lucy said. Control of your body, your fear, your anger. She tapped her own chest. And this, they trained hard, harder than any conventional soldier. Lucy pushed them to exhaustion, then pushed further. She broke them down, not with cruelty, but precision. Every movement had purpose. Every strike had a reason. When someone lashed out in anger, she stopped the drill. Again, she said calmly, this time without hate. Days turned into weeks. Slowly, she changed the program. She added pauses, questions, reflection. She made them talk about what they felt after simulations, about fear, guilt, doubt. The military psychologists objected. Emotional attachment compromises effectiveness, they argued. Lucy stared at them coldly. Emotional suppression creates corpses, she replied. They stopped arguing. At night, Lucy still dreamed. The bar, the knife, the broken wrist, 347 faces. But now, she woke up with something new. Purpose. One evening, the red-haired recruit approached her on the observation deck. Ma'am, she said, why did you spare them? The soldiers in the bar. Lucy didn't answer immediately. Because killing is easy, she finally said. Living with it is not. The recruit nodded slowly. Do you regret becoming a ghost? Lucy looked at Earth glowing beneath them. Every day, she said. And I'd do it again. The galaxy watched. Reports surfaced of human ghosts operating with restraint. Conflicts de-escalated before fleets mobilized. Threats disappeared quietly without massacres. Fears shifted. Humans weren't reckless. They were deliberate. And then the whispers changed. Not monsters. Guardians. Lucy never corrected them. She knew the truth lived somewhere in between. Years passed. The galaxy remained dangerous, but cautious. Wars still threatened. Empires still tested boundaries. But every strategic model carried an unspoken variable now. What if a ghost was watching? Lucy Cole stood once again at a window, older now, lines carved into her face not by time, but memory. Below her, a new class trained. Stronger, smarter, more restrained. She had kept her promise. She had not created weapons. She had created people who understood the cost of becoming one. The red-haired recruit, now a leader, stood beside her. They listen to you, she said. They're afraid of me, Lucy replied. No, the woman said. They trust you. That mattered more. A message arrived from the Galactic Council, a formal request. They wanted Lucy as an advisor. They wanted her voice in peace negotiations. The irony wasn't lost on her. A ghost teaching peace. She accepted, not because she believed in councils, but because she believed in choices. That night, Lucy walked alone under Earth's artificial sky. She thought about the bar, about the captain, about the fleet that came for her, about family. She had spent her life being invisible. Now she chose to stay, to guide, to warn, to protect. The galaxy would never forget the ghosts. But Lucy Cole would be remembered for something else. She was the weapon that learned mercy, the monster that chose restraint, the ghost who stayed human. And somewhere in the darkness, when enemies planned and threats gathered, one truth remained. Humanity would always come for its own, and they would never leave their ghost behind.